So this question I got from somebody on YouTube was asking this question about, when we were talking about travel and how travel can be more tolerable, in my opinion, when it's on a shorter term project because, traveling to the same city for 52 weeks in a row can be kind of monotonous. But traveling to a city for 4 weeks or 5 weeks and then maybe trading up and going to a different city, that actually kind of was refreshing for me. And so then somebody followed up with that question after that travel video, well, is there some way that we can kind of preference if we're going to a company that does project work? Can we preference short-term versus long-term projects? I don't know if you really could preface the short-term versus long-term projects. I think you can preface the type of work you do to some degree. But some companies may, again, say, look, we have need here, and this is the work you're going to do. So if anything, you can kind of say, hey, this is the work I'm interested in. Now, the one thing I will say is that when you talk to these companies, ask them, if it's a consulting company, for example, and you say, hey, we have, are you interested in taking on a management consulting role or an IT consulting role? Ask them about the projects. I will probably bet that the IT projects tend to be longer term because the process of gathering requirements, developing designs, building, testing software, it's while it's possible to come in and just do the design work and then roll off that project, it's much smarter to keep you on for the build and for the testing because once you've been part of the design, you understand the intricacies of the system. Well, who better than to be there during the building of it than you? Who better to be there than testing it than you? Who better to be there in the deployment and training than you? So what I found was that even if I came in, they were like, oh, Clint, you're going to do some requirements gathering and it's going to last 3 months. I would be on that client for 12 months because once I did the requirements gathering, we'd do the build for 3 months. We'd do the testing for 3 months. We'd roll it out. I was there for a year. For management and strategy projects, those tend to be shorter term, but again, those can be long term as well. But I would think that if you're going to preface anything and you're trying to look for shorter term versus long term, I would urge you to look at, the kind of projects, just be prepared that if it's an IT project or an implementation project, they tend to be long. If it's small development work, like just building this one part of an app or something, that could be short term. But the managerial strategic project can be kind of shorter term, I would think. So how do you get on the short term versus long term? That's really up to the company, and I think you really can't preface the time of project as much as you can the type of work you do, and that would be up to you to figure out what kind of work at these companies are going to be shorter term versus long term. But I hope that answers your question. All right.